Hello everyone, welcome to Prelims Previous Year Question Analysis. This is Dhanunjayareddy bringing you the current Prelims Previous Year questions. So this is for those guys who are writing Union Public Service Commission Prelims examination this year. It covers 28 question papers or 28 papers. So I started with the subject of economics. This is class number 14 of economics. As we know, in my first iteration I am doing it from 2023 to 2006. In my second iteration I will be doing from 1995 to 2006. So that with this previous year questions will be covered. Subsequently, somewhere around 15 to 16 questions or themes can be answered from the previous year questions. So I have resumed my classes yesterday. So this is my resumption of the classes, and this is my class number 14 as far as this is considered. So what to look in this video, guys? You can look at what are the current affairs, what are the things that is important as far as prelims is considered, how to learn the subject. So learning the subject from previous year questions, applying the techniques to solve the previous year questions, and then I will be sharing the notes of the economics completely here, so you can download it and you can watch it. So learn them. This is going to be vital component if you want to clear prelims for UPSC, and this is one-stop solution for all the previous year papers. So I will be completing it by the end of February or March. So please do follow this regularly for your uh, previous year questions. With reference to the bitcoins, sometimes seen in the news, which of the following statements is correct? So this was again a current affairs news in 2016. So they are asking about, with reference to the bitcoins, sometimes seen in the news, which of the following is correct? They are asking about bitcoins. So you should know something about bitcoins, guys, right? Bitcoins are virtual currencies, which is a decentralized, based on decentralized ledger system. This decentralized ledger is a technology used in the blockchain. So blockchain functions on decentralized ledger. Blockchain is a technology on which bitcoins or virtual currencies do operate. This technology has immense applications in various fields of economy. Now, Indian government is also using this Bitcoin blockchain technology. However, Bitcoins, as they are decentralized, there is no one called centralized authority to control them. So, Government of India has not permitted Bitcoins to be operated in the system. But blockchain technology is an emerging field in data sciences, in computer science engineering, and that will be having immense use. As a result, we are using blockchain technology, but not the so-called bitcoins as such. So these are the things that we should know about bitcoins or virtual currencies. In this context, a current affairs question can also be asked about central bank digital currency. Now, what is the difference between central bank digital currency and this bitcoins? Both are virtual currencies, by the way. But central bank digital currency means this is the digital currency which is released by the central bank. And unlike bitcoins, the central bank digital currency is regulated by an institution. So this is a thing that you have to know as far as this point is considered. Now, let's have a look at the options that you have. Bitcoins are tracked by the central banks of the countries. This is not bitcoins. Bitcoins are not tracked by the central banks because this is working on a decentralized system. So first statement is wrong and everyone knows it more or less. So that is wrong. Anyone with Bitcoin address can send or receive Bitcoins from anyone else within the Bitcoin address. Obviously, whenever you have a Bitcoin address, anyone can operate, anyone can send it, anyone can receive it without knowing who is the sender, who is the receiver. So everything will be anonymous in this, and anyone can do these things. So option B is correct. Online payments can be sent without either side knowing the identity. This is what I said. Anonymity is the clause which is present. As a result, as there is anonymity, anything which is anonymous will not be regulated by RBI or central bank. So central bank regulation means there will be someone know your customer details will be there. So only B and B is correct. That is 2 and 3 options are correct. This is 2016 current affairs question, and everyone should know about bitcoins and central bank digital currency. If bitcoins are replaced by central bank digital currency, then what will be the answer? One will be correct if it is central bank digital currency. Anyone without Bitcoin send it and receive Bitcoins from anyone else with a Bitcoin address. Central bank digital coin address, you can send it. However, identity will be known here. So 1 and 2 will be correct if the question is speaking about CBDC. The answer is the so-called 2 and 3 as it is speaking about bitcoins. These are the things that you should know about bitcoins. So where is this topic? This topic is present in the concept of money and money systems. how concept of money has evolved from the so-called barter to the so-called commodity to the so-called metallic money, and then you have bank money, and then you have paper currency or token currencies. Slowly you enter into virtual currency mode today, and that virtual currency is central bank digital currency, or one form is bitcoins. So this is the evolution of money. So you can download my book that I am sharing in the link description box, that is Money and Money Supply. There I have given the data about all these things. What is the purpose of marginal cost of funds based lending rate? MCLR, marginal cost based lending rate. So they are asking this question. These guidelines help improve the transparency in the methodology followed by the banks for determining the interest rates on advances. So whenever a bank is giving some loans, advances means loans extended by bank. Whenever a bank gives advances or loans, there should be some benchmark interest rate. The benchmark interest rate is MCLR, marginal cost of funds lending rate. These guidelines help ensure availability of bank credit at interest rates which are fair to the borrowers as well as the banks. So the interest rates will be fair to the so-called depositors as well as the lenders. So MCLR is a concept which will be useful. I will discuss about MCLR further in my next class, because there is one more question regarding to this, where we will discuss about what is this benchmark rates. The term core banking solution, sometimes seen in news, is related to which of the following? Core bank solutions is the software on which the so-called all the banks in India operate. RBI uses this software, they name it as eKuber. The CBS of RBI, eKuber. Now what is CBS? Say for example, if you are a customer of SBI, you will be having access to net banking. Now how you are doing net banking? In order to open that on your desktop, obviously there should be some software. The software is known as Core Banking Solutions Network. Hence, with this software, you can operate your bank account without going to the banks physically. By being in your homes, you can do all the banking operations. It is a networking of, so this is a positive term. It is a networking of bank branches which enables customers to operate their accounts from any branch of the bank on its network regardless of anywhere they open their accounts. Obviously, regardless of where you open your accounts, you can operate your bank from anywhere. This is one advantage that you have about core banking solution. It is an effort to increase RBI's control over commercial banks through commercialization, no computerization. Now you should always remember that RBI, if it is controlling, it controls not only commercial banks, it also controls cooperative banks. All banks will be regulated by RBI. So it will not show partiality between a commercial bank or non-commercial bank when it is controlling. Hence these type of statements, RBI controlling is some extreme statement in the options. So whenever you find this statement, you can conveniently consider that is going to be a wrong option. It is an effort to increase RBI's control over through computerization. No, this is to make ease of doing business in the banks. No need to go to the banks. You can operate your banking systems directly from being in your homes. So second option is correct. Wrong. It is a detailed procedure by which a bank with huge non-performing assets is taken over by another bank. So this is nothing to do with non-performing assets. This is something which is developing this system. So only one statement is correct. Detailed procedure by which a bank with huge NPS is taken over by another bank. No. What do you call this? A detailed procedure through which a bank with huge NPS is taken over by another bank. Maybe this will be something like the so-called bank merger, bank amalgamation. You use these terms for this, but not that. So only one is correct in this context. The establishment of payment banks. Already I discussed in my last lecture or last class, that is in test number 13, about what is payment banks. The establishment of payment banks is being used to promote financial inclusion. All banks Small finance banks, local area banks, RRBs, payment banks or differential banks. All these are there in order to promote financial inclusion. Which of the following are correct in this context? Mobile telephone companies and supermarket chains that are owned and controlled by residents are eligible to be promoters of payment banks. Extremely important. Who can open a payment bank? First thing is, you have to be resident Indian, and anyone doing some a company doing some transactions like mobile company, supermarket company, where some money will be involved, they can be operating this. For example, DMart can open their own payment bank. For example, Reliance Zio can operate their Reliance Pay. You have today Reliance Pay or Jio Pay, right? You have something like Phone Pay. All these are operating. Or you have Airtel Pay, right? Airtel company who is operating a more supermarkets, right? Like this. Payment banks can issue both credit cards and debit cards. It should be noted that the limitation of payment banks is payment banks will never give loans. That is what you have to understand. The moment you don't give loans, there is no concept of credit card. Credit card is nothing but loans. So you are not allowed to give credit card. Payment banks cannot undertake lending activities. Yes, this is the thing. 2 and 3 are synonymous. Look at it. The moment you are not lending, then you cannot issue payment banks. So this is the assertion. This is the reason for this. And assertion is a reason is correct as for this assertion. So 2 and 3 are synonymous. As a result, both will become wrong in this context. So answer is going to be mobile telephone companies. Which of the following statements? Sorry, 2 and 3 are not synonymous. One second. So in this context, have a look at it. They are not synonymous. They are saying this. Payment banks can issue both the debit cards and credit cards. They cannot issue credit cards. Why they cannot issue credit cards means they cannot do lending operations. If they do lending operations, they can issue credit cards. As a result, 2 is wrong. Why 2 is wrong? Because this is correct. So 1 and 3 is going to be the correct option. So what is the summary? Payment banks. Payment banks can be operated or opened by only resident Indians. This is first thing. Second thing is, these payment banks cannot do lending operations. The moment you are not do lending operations, not permitted to issue credit cards. The only thing that they can do is they can give debit cards. Why they can issue debit cards? Debit cards are nothing but for your deposits you can withdraw by using this card. Next, recently RBI said a payment bank having 5 years experience can operate as small finance bank. A small finance bank having operations for 5 years can turn out to be the so-called universal banks. Now, payment banks, Indian post payment banks is also one concept which is related. All these things I have discovered or discussed under banking sector in my notes that I have shared in this video. Please have a look at that. That will be really helpful. So this is the thing that you have to understand about the payment banks concept. Now, as there is some restriction on lending business, you call them as differential banks. Now, what is a differential bank? A bank which is either having restrictions on the geographical limit of operation, for example, RRBs, which are restricted to rural areas, for example, local area banks, which are restricted to only those districts which do not have poor banking, which is having poor banking penetration, or local area banks, small finance banks, where the restriction is on the so-called the total finance that they take on the area of operation, and the payment banks they have restriction on this transactions. So this is what you have to know, all the data about payment banks, and the data is this, right? So this is what we have for today guys, or in this video. I'll be continuing in my next video. Thanks for joining guys. Have a great day.